we met a while back just after high school, and just started getting close in our friendship and relationship, and pursued marriage. And going into marriage, I had thought I had it all together, being ready as a man, and ready to be a husband. But in my past, I had a partying stage where I was partying and drinking and just hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I thought getting married, that would slow down and I'd just be with my wife, and I wasn't really pursuing Jesus. So that trickled in, and I kind of had almost like a single mindset. I wanted to be single still, not fulfill the job of being a husband. And so I would go out with the guys and just leave her at home, and I wasn't being a husband.
Going into marriage for me, I don't think I had a very good perception of what marriage really is and what it means to be married to someone, and feeling like the voids that I've been feeling for a long time of wanting to feel wanted and needed and loved and treasured and valued. I thought that getting married would kind of fix all of that. There was a lot of tension in our marriage, and it was like not what we imagined it was going to be. And instead of turning to the Lord, instead of pursuing Him and making Him the center of our marriage, I started to invest in an outside relationship, and just started getting these desires that I had fulfilled by this person. And it was a lot. I feel like I started to lead a double life. I'd be sinning against my husband and behind his back and lying and doing these things, and then coming back to him. Just, I don't know, we'd argue and fight, and then I felt justified in what I was doing. And I feel like looking back now that the enemy's lies were just so loud to me and so just overpowering, telling me that, see, this isn't the man you were supposed to marry, and this isn't what marriage is supposed to be like, and you're so miserable, and this person is fulfilling all these desires that you have, and look, see, he did that again, so you're right in doing what you're doing. And I think because I had been in the church, and I think that there were times where I felt God like just knocking on the door of my heart, but I feel like I just turned my back completely. And then there was a night where Jeff found everything out, and we were separated just 6 months after we were married. And during that time when we separated, I thought that I was going to leave my marriage, that we would be divorced, I didn't want to be married anymore. I was just so deep in my sin that that's what I thought I was going to do. I was just going to leave my marriage and pursue this other relationship and never look back. And so we were separated, and I was staying at my mom's house. And it was a couple of weeks after, he had found everything out, and I got up and went for a run early one morning. And since I was in my mom's neighborhood, I was coming down one of her streets and rounded the corner of this park, and it would have just could have been any park, but it happened to be the park where Jeff proposed to me, and we had our first kiss there. And I remember just kind of walking up on it slow, and sat down at a bench and looked at the tire swing where he was on one knee asking me to marry him, and I just started crying. I feel like in that moment, God was speaking straight at me, and He was saying, "What are you doing? You are about to lose everything." And just, I felt like the blinders were lifted from my eyes, and God was allowing me to see for the first time with a clear mind what I was doing. And I remember that day going right back to my mom's and, you know, calling Jeff and telling him, I need to talk to you. And I asked him for forgiveness and begged if we could work things out. But like he was saying, you know, he was hurt and broken, and his heart was hardened to me in the situation. And I think in that moment I didn't understand. I was like, well, come on, like just begging him, let's make this work. But I think God needed to take me through a season, and that began for me, you know, our separation. I feel like God took me full circle through different things, and he needed to show me, I needed to see the weight of my sin, that this is what Jesus died for this, for me. And that realization, I mean, it took me to my knees, because I felt like I am so unworthy, and this thing that I did, this is bad. I'm not good. And realizing that God loves me, and that he sent his son to die for me, and he loved me that much, that was like huge.
Well, when everything happened and the night we separated, my mindset was, I remember saying, I forgive you and let's work this out, but it didn't go that route. That's what I wanted in the end, I think, probably to cover it up and not let anyone know we were having problems. But since that didn't work out, I was just in so much pain and hurt and anger, and trying to, you know, just get rid of the thoughts and the pain with, you know, all the wrong things. And you know, just I've taken wrong roads before, and I just know that there's a dead end. Like the things I was doing, you know, drinking and partying and unhealthy relationships, it's just an empty road. It's just, and
I think it was right at that point of me really feeling God's peace, knowing that this isn't easy and it really sucks, and this is what I want to happen, but I know, God, that it's going to be how you want it. And it was right at that time, I think, that how Jeff was saying, that he kind of came to his realizations that while we were separated, I had kept a blog and just kind of wrote out all of the things that I was learning, and no details, but really just the lessons that God was teaching me about life and forgiveness and marriage and being a wife and what it means and what I was learning. So.
And then one day I was at my parents' computer, and when I clicked the history bar, I was going down and I saw her blog page, and I had never looked at it before. And so I told myself, all right, I'll click on it, because I had been wondering, you know, after almost a year, what she'd been doing and where she had been, and, you know, all these different thoughts going in my head. And so I just start reading through, and I had spent, I think, over 3 hours reading it and just crying my eyes out. I was in the house by myself, and just seeing where she had been and then where God had taken her, just totally transformed. And I was just saying, like, that's who I married, that, right, you know, that's what I want, and that's, you know, and then it felt like God showing me that was like, now you need to be changed too, and you need to go through healing. And so we met at a restaurant, and it was really hard. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. I think for me, just seeing her visually, like in person, and talking with her was going to help me to see, you know, if she's just typing this or if she's for real. And
from there, we, like he said, we were in counseling, and
forgiving someone who had wronged you is, it's easy to say I forgive you, but really deep down inside, it took a lot. It was God only that, you know, helped me through these things to forgive and to learn forgiveness, and to also ask for forgiveness of myself for the things that I brought into the marriage and that hurt her.
I think it's just, for me, it's just a picture of God's grace and his love for his kids, that there is nothing too big for him. There's no situation too hopeless or impossible or too far gone. It's not. It takes faith and trust and really handing it over to God, but he can do amazing, amazing things. Yeah. I think that's the end.